We've got Grant Taylor, Associate Dean at Beeson Divinity School, here with me today. And Grant is also a Union alum and here to talk about the Reformation with our Reformation 500 event coming up. So Grant, thanks for coming by.
Happy to be here. Thank you, Ray.
And what would you share with folks a little bit to tell them why is the Reformation important?
Well, I think, as Christians, the Reformation is important because the Reformation reclaimed for the church the centrality of the gospel. And its significance for reality, for all of life. And so with the reclaiming of the gospel of Jesus Christ, his death and his resurrection, and the matter of justification by faith, also reclaim the centrality of the Bible, of the Word of God, for reality, for all of life.
Right.
And not only for the ministers, but even for the laity. And so with the, recapturing really the priesthood of all believers. And so the centrality of the gospel, the centrality of the Bible, and the centrality of the church, of the congregation, you might even say, I'd say is why the Reformation is valuable and significant for us as Christians. Not to mention books. We have so many books now because the Reformation just sparked this huge revolution in printing books to translate the scriptures, to publish, to proclamate what was being argued and debated and promulgated in the 16th century. So the Reformation is a huge revolution in history, and not to mention the history of the church.
That's great. And then in our event, I'm arguing that it is the greatest revival since Pentecost. So it's a big claim. We'll see if we can hold that there. Why is it valuable, the Reformation, for Baptists?
Well, Baptists are, as I heard all growing up as a Baptist, we are Bible people. And so with the solas of the Reformation and sola scriptura, the centrality of the Word of God, as I just mentioned, for Baptists, for us to root our faith in the Word of God, in the Scriptures, and not in our tradition. So the primacy of the Word of God as the supreme authority, not the only, but the supreme authority for everything we do in the church and in life. That's a very Baptist thing to claim. And not to mention that our heritage can be traced to the Reformation and from the English Reformation. So to understand our heritage, to understand what it is we should do on Sunday from the pulpit, and also even how we ought to, I think, structure our churches, and the polity that we hold to as Baptists can be traced to maybe not the first generation of, but second and third generation of the Reformation. So
that's good.
It's a very significant time for all Christians and especially Baptists.
That's helpful. And speaking of Baptists and the Reformation, one of our plenary speakers is Timothy George, who's there at Beeson with you. Right. So what could you tell folks about why it'd be a good thing to come hear Dr. George?
Well, in addition to being my very kind boss, Timothy George is a Baptist expert on the Reformation. He wrote a book, Theology of the Reformers, which has been a textbook for many colleges and seminaries for 20 years almost now. And he is one of the best minds there is in the American evangelical church today on what we just talked about, the event of and the implications of the Reformation. And so he can help pastors and lay folks alike consider the value of the Reformation, and not only the value of it as a historical idea or subject, but to tie that to their present-day ministries. And so he does that quite often and regularly at Beeson day in and day out, and when he's out speaking in various parts of the world. And he has also been very involved in conversations between the evangelicals and the Catholic Church, to navigate, the implications of the Reformation in that vein. So in a number of avenues, Dr. George is very helpful, and he'll be a very lively speaker and thought-provoking. And I think you'll leave with really some very helpful thoughts on what this means for your pastoral ministry today. So I would recommend you come hear him.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to it and looking forward to having him with us. And so if you're listening to this, then we'd love to have you come. The event is Ref 500. It'll be March 9 to 11, 2017. So it's coming up before long, and you have the information on the website. all the different events that will be going on are mentioned there, so we hope to see you. Thanks.